Hi, everybody. This is Tatiana Peterson, and the essential question that I've been exploring this cycle is what is worth teaching? And so that's what I have been exploring. And the question that I would like to share with you today was my third question. It was, how can I sensibly teach students reconciliation between reason and faith? And so I asked that question because I was thinking about several different things. I was thinking about, on one hand, how sometimes faith is put down as opposed to science, and on the other hand, how sometimes religious people will put down science. And I was raised by a atheist father and ALDS mother, so kind of experienced this conflict since very early in my life at home. So I didn't feel like I dealt with it in school too much, but I definitely feel that for a lot of kids, a schooling experience might be the first time that they see something that's conflicting with what they were taught to believe in their homes. And so that was kind of what I wanted to explore. So, as a scholar, as a teacher, in his or her own journey, presumably has gone through this experience. So, as we are going through our education, I am assuming that we have made our assumptions and our decisions about whether what place faith and science and reason have in our belief system. And a teacher's role is not to impose a personal belief system nor to discredit scientific study and knowledge. So, as teachers, we're not there to say that one is superior to the other. And this is part of creating a safe thinking and questioning environment for the students, and is also part of respecting students and allowing them to experience their emotions about what they are learning. I thought that was very interesting when I was researching these questions, because those two things, creating a safe thinking and questioning environment and respecting students' emotions, are things that I have researched about in the past few cycles. So I feel when I was doing this assignment, it was almost like things were connecting, like in our concept maps kind of thing. So I would like to share two examples of how this works. So we have Aquinas, who believed that philosophy and theology are sciences that were meant to coexist. To him, philosophical sciences and sacred doctrine were equally important and therefore worthy of study time devoted to each in their realm. He proposed an innovative view of science and religion without negation of each other. I think Aquinas is very important because he is a religious person. He's a Catholic saint, and he is somebody who was very innovative in thinking, when he's like, what, we don't need to negate science in order to strengthening our faith, and we don't need to negate faith in order to study science. Also, Henry Eyring, it was such a great example, very devoted to his faith, very dedicated to science, and never confrontational. So I have one little quote that he said: "Since the gospel embraces all truth, there can never be any genuine contradictions between true science and true religion. I am obliged as a Latter-day Saint to believe whatever is true, regardless of the source." And I have read a lot of things about him, and if you had to, that he was never confrontational, nor in the scientific community, not with other members of the church. He was so great at doing this reconciliation in a peaceful way. When I was researching, I came across a story on the New York Times, and it's a practical example of what I was trying to figure it out. So the background for it is that Florida changed the biology curriculum to include evolution, and there was a lot of debate and fighting and questioning. And so this teacher called David Campbell, he's a biology teacher who helped create the new curriculum, but he was aware that some of his students were very religious. And because of all the debate and questioning that happened in the community, As he was implementing and starting to teach the kids about evolution, he used different methods to try to get to them. And if you read the article, and I'm going to post a link in the discussion board, but if you read the article, you see that several times as he was preparing and as he was teaching, he was thinking, if I say this, they're going to stop listening. If I act a certain way, I'm going to lose them. So he was constantly worried about keeping them interested in the subject and help them understand the concept without negating their faith or whatever faith system they had. Is a very interesting story, and I learned a lot from it. I don't want to go into the whole creationism or evolution, but one thing that he does when he's trying to explain, he talks about what kind of questions science explains or not, what kind of questions science can answer. And he says, if it's something that cannot be proven or disproven, then we're not going to discuss in a science class, because that's not science. And so I feel like sometimes it's as simple as differentiating what that academic environment is dedicated to and what it's not, that is not for negating anybody's faith. And I've learned a lot from this article. I could go on and on, but I don't want to make a super long video. So if you can check that link. And that's what I've learned, and I hope it's of some use for you as well.